Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 40 years. This year, I'm going through the lessons and asking Jesus for clarity, and then I'm writing from that clarity, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. So let's get started. Today, we're looking at lesson 132. I loosed the world from all I thought it was. This is such a powerful lesson. I'm very excited to be sharing this one today. Paragraph 1 says, what keeps the world in chains but your beliefs? And what can save the world except yourself? Belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it, nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. It is but when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last. As we begin to learn how powerful are our thoughts, we also learn that the world is an illusion. It is easy to dismiss the ego thoughts as unimportant since they don't make anything that is real, but that would be a mistake. We made this world and continue to make it through our beliefs. What makes an entire world cannot be called unimportant and should not be summarily dismissed. Paragraph 2. Yet is salvation easily achieved, for anyone is free to change his mind, and all his thoughts change with it. Now the source of thought has shifted. For to change your mind means you have changed the source of all ideas you think or ever thought or yet will think. You free the past from what you thought before. You free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking what you do not want to find. When Jesus says we are free to change our mind, he's not talking about noticing a thought and deciding not to think it anymore. That is a strategy that's doomed to failure anyway. Our thoughts are the effects of our beliefs, and to change our beliefs, we need to change the source of them. Our thoughts and beliefs are sourced by either our split mind or our real mind. The ego thought system is based on the belief in separation, and what comes from that belief are thoughts of fear, anger, guilt, hatred, and the like. What comes from our real mind are thoughts of love, joy, and peace. So if we want to be free and to free the world, we must change the mind with which we think. In that way, all our thoughts change with it. In so doing, we free both the past and the future. The past from what you thought before, and the future from all these ancient thoughts. Well, by the way, if you thought that you have private thoughts shared by no one, that would be wrong. If you believe they were sourced by your separate mind, that would be wrong too. All thoughts we have are ancient thoughts, like the world and all the stories of separate individuals that came into being with a tiny mad idea. We don't think them up. They just show up and we notice them. Then we join with the ego or with the Holy Spirit to decide if we want to keep believing that thought or if we want to release it. Paragraph 3. The present now remains the only time. Here in the present is a world set free. For as you let the past be lifted and released, the future from your ancient, let me read that again. Here in the present is a world set free. For as you let the past be lifted and release the future from your ancient fears, you find escape and give it to the world. You have enslaved the world with all your fears, your doubts and miseries, your pain and tears, and all your sorrows press on it and keep the world a prisoner to your beliefs. Death strikes it everywhere because you hold a bitter thought of death within your mind. we begin to see how important it is that we change our mind and choose to be in union with the Holy Spirit rather than the ego. This is from Rules for Decision in chapter 30. It says, for you and your advisor must agree on what you want before it can occur. It is but this agreement that permits all things to happen. Nothing can be caused without some form of union, be it with a dream of judgment or the voice for God. Decisions cause results because they are not made in isolation. They are made by you and your advisor, for yourself and for the world as well. I've been practicing consciously choosing to be in union with the Holy Spirit during the day. When I notice a thought that enslaves the world with fear, doubts, pain, or any form of suffering, I change my mind and I join with the Holy Spirit instead. It's simple. It takes only a few seconds. I felt the stab of pain in my body this morning and I closed my eyes for a moment and let my mind go still. The ego is found in the chaos of mind thinking. The Holy Spirit is found in the silence. In this present moment, I let the Holy Spirit undo the belief that pain is real. I freed the world from the belief in pain, at least a little. But that little is taken by the Holy Spirit and delivered to each mind that is open to it. These small practices do far more good than we realize. Paragraph 4. The world is nothing in itself. Your mind must give it meaning. And what you behold upon it are your wishes acted out so you can look on them and think them real. Perhaps you think you did not make the world, but came unwillingly to what was made already, hardly waiting for your thoughts to give it meaning. Yet in truth, you found exactly what you looked for when you came. When I believed in guilt, the idea that I chose this life story with all its pain and suffering was upsetting. But then I came to realize that there is a difference between guilt and responsibility. Guilt condemns me, but taking responsibility presents an opportunity to change things and set me free. So to believe I'm guilty, I must join with the ego to decide this. I can easily change my mind and join with the Holy Spirit. I free myself from the ego judgment and free the world as well. Now I fully accept that the world is what I want it to be. It is exactly what I chose to find when I came here. Paragraph 5. There is no world apart from what you wish, and herein lies your ultimate release. Change but your mind on what you want to see, and all the world must change accordingly. Ideas leave not their source. This central theme is often stated in the text and must be borne in mind if you would understand the lesson for today. It is not pride which tells you that you made the world you see and that it changes as you change your mind. But it is pride that argues you have come into a world quite separate from yourself and impervious to what you think and quite apart from what you chance to think it is. There is no world. This is a central thought the Course attempts to teach. Not everyone is ready to accept it, and each one must go as far as he can let himself be led along the path to truth. He will return and go still further, or perhaps step back a while, and then return again. That's a very strong statement Jesus is making there. The world seems to exist because that is what we want to see. It's up to us to change our mind about what we want the world to be to us. Since our thoughts made the world, our changed thoughts will show us something else. we will see a world without the fear and guilt that makes this world so painful. As Jesus tells us frequently, ideas leave not their source. The idea of a world of separation is in our mind. As long as this idea is in our mind, the world will appear to be real to us because that's what we want. There is no world outside our desire for one. This is where Jesus blows our minds as he tells us that there is no world. That is a completely uncompromising statement. He emphasizes it with the next statement. This is a central thought the Course attempts to teach. He also acknowledges that it might take some lifetimes to reach acceptance of this idea. I'm not waiting for other lifetimes. I accept that the world is an idea in my mind that I am projecting outward so that I can see my thoughts in action. This is a lifetime that I'm using this projected world to change my mind. I'm choosing to do this instead of trying to make it work. It's a sinking ship. I'm through arranging the deck chairs. I'm throwing them overboard. Paragraph 7. But healing is a gift of those who are prepared to learn that there is no world and can accept the lesson now. Their readiness will bring the lesson to them in some form which they can understand and recognize. Some see it suddenly on point of death and rise to teach it. Others find it in experience that is not of this world, which shows them that the world does not exist because what they behold must be the truth, and yet it clearly contradicts the world. And some will find it in this course and in the exercises that we do today. Today's idea is true because the world does not exist. And if it is indeed your own imagining, then you can loose it from all the things you ever thought it was by merely changing all the thoughts that gave it these appearances. The sick are healed as you let go all the thoughts of sickness, and the dead arise when you let thoughts of life replace all thoughts you ever held of death. I am one who's finding the truth in this course and in its exercises. It does indeed seem unbelievable that we will heal the sick and raise the dead by merely changing our mind, and yet I do believe it. I believe it because sickness and death are just ideas in the mind. They appear to be outside the mind and bodies that don't exist, but there is nothing outside the mind. 9. A lesson earlier repeated must now be stressed again, for it contains the firm foundation for today's idea. You are as God created you. There is no place where you can suffer and no time that can bring change to your eternal state. How can a world of time and place exist if you remain as God created you? God is life, and so to believe life created death is truly insane. God is love, and love does not create pain and suffering. God created me, and so I cannot be in pain and I cannot suffer, and I certainly cannot die. Anything that seems to be happening that is not part of God is an illusion, plain and simple. It is an illusion, a dream, a hallucination. It is the effect of a powerful mind imagining something impossible. Paragraph 10. What is the lesson for today except another way of saying that to know yourself, your true self, is the salvation of the world? To free the world from every kind of pain is but to change your mind about yourself. There is no world apart from your ideas because ideas leave not their source, and you maintain the world within your mind and thought. Yet, if you are as God created you, you cannot think apart from him, nor make what does not share his timelessness and love. Are these inherent in the world you see? Does it create like him? Unless it does, it is not real and cannot be at all. If you are real, the world you see is false, for God's creation is unlike the world in every way. And as it was his thought by which you were created, so it is your thoughts which made it and must set it free, that you may know the thoughts you share with God. Jesus is using unfailing logic to help us see how it is the world cannot be real. And so it follows that if it is not real, it must only be in our minds. We made the world with our thoughts, and we must undo it by returning our mind to only the thoughts we think with God. Paragraph 12, release the world. Your real creations wait for this release to give you fatherhood, not of illusions, but as God in truth. Now listen very closely to this next part. This is so absolutely amazing. God shares his fatherhood with you who are his son, for he makes no distinctions in what is himself and what is still himself. What he creates is not apart from him, and nowhere does the Father end, the Son begin as something separate from him. Told you that was amazing. In this paragraph, Jesus begins with a plea that we release the world. We made it up in our mind, and so only we can release it. I also love this sentence. God shares his fatherhood with you who are his son, for he makes no distinctions in what is himself and what is still himself. Jesus is telling us that he is our Father, and as his son, we are exactly like him. There's no place where the Father ends and the Son begins as something separate from him. What are we doing here? Dreaming we are bodies. Okay, so paragraph 13. There is no world because it is a thought apart from God and made to separate the Father and the Son and break away a part of God himself and thus destroy his wholeness. Can a world which comes from this idea be real? Can it be anywhere? Deny illusions, but accept the truth. Deny you are a shadow briefly laid upon a dying world. Release your mind and you will look upon a world released. If I start to think that the world is real and that I am separated from my Father, I'm going to reread paragraph 12. Over and over, Jesus is telling us that we have not created a world apart from God. We only dream this is possible, and we could ever want it accomplished. 14. Today, our purpose is to free the world from all the idle thoughts we ever held about it and about all living things we see upon it. They cannot be there. No more can we, for we are in the home our Father set for us, along with them. And we who are as he created us would loose the world this day from every one of our illusions, that we may be free. 15. Begin the 15-minute periods in which we practice twice today with this. I, who remain as God created me, would loose the world from all I thought it was, for I am real because the world is not, and I would know my own reality. Then merely rest, alert but with no strain, and let your mind in quietness be changed so that the world is freed along with you. Do you want to be free from all pain and suffering, from fear, guilt, hate, and war? Do you want to be free from death and its accompaniment, grief? Then release the world from all these beliefs. How do you do this? He tells us the answer. Merely rest and let your mind in quietness be changed. We can all do that. Paragraph 16. You need not realize that healing comes to many brothers far across the world as well as to the ones you see nearby, as you send out these thoughts to bless the world. But you will sense your own release, although you may not fully understand as yet that you could never be released alone. 17, throughout the day, increase the freedom sent through your ideas to all the world. And say, whenever you're tempted to deny the power of your simple change of mind, I loose the world from all I thought it was and choose my own reality instead. Well, thank you for sharing this incredible lesson with me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with another lesson.